Welcome everyone to Dr. Scott's Maths Made Simple, to episode 1, Matrices. Tonight we're going to talk about the matrix. It's an area that confuses a lot of people, sometimes frightens people. They're not difficult if you know what you're doing. They're really quite simple. This is a simple matrix. A matrix is actually a group of numbers, either in a square or a rectangle. And they have square brackets or rectangular brackets on the side. So that's a simple matrix. It has 4 numbers in it. They rate matrices as to how big they are. So they say that the number of rows, so this has 2 rows, row 1, row 2, and it has 2 columns, 1 and 2. So that is a 2 by 2 matrix. This becomes important later. I'd go so far as to say, though, just so you know, that this is a matrix. A matrix can just have one number. That's a matrix. And that, of course, is a 1 by 1, because there's 1 row and 1 column. That's a 1 by 1 matrix. Okay. What they do sometimes, one of the commonest things you do with matrices is you add them. So if you had 5, 2, 7, 3, 6, 1, and we want to add it to another matrix, well, the other matrix you add it to has to be the same order. So it's got to be, in this case, a 2 by 3. Otherwise you can't add it. So we could add here 1, 3, 4, 2, 1, 0, because that is a 2 by 3 matrix, 2 rows, 3 columns. This is a 2 by 3, 2 rows, 3 columns. Therefore, we can add them. And it's simply a matter, when you add 2 matrices, they've got to be the same size or the same order. So they're both 2 by 3, the same order. And what we do, we just add that number to that number. So 5 plus 1 is 6. So equals 6 there. 2 plus 3 is 5. Difficult, isn't it? 7 plus 4 is 11. 3 plus 2 is 5. 6 plus 1 is 7. And 1 plus 0 is 1. So those 2 matrices added together equal this matrix. And they have to be the same order. So this one's 2 by 3, 2 by 3, so you can add them together. And the result will always be the same order again, a 2 by 3 matrix. 2 rows, 3 columns. We could even, of course, the other thing, if you add matrices, well, you can actually subtract them as well. So if we change that to a minus, and it's the same deal, if you minus matrices, they've got to be the same order. So a 2 by 3 minus a 2 by 3 matrix, you will get a 2 by 3 matrix. And again, instead of adding, we're now minusing, so it's subtracting. So 5 minus 1 is 4. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. 7 minus 4 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. 6 minus 1 is 5. And 1 minus 0 is 1. So this matrix minus this matrix equals this matrix. And they're all 2 by 3. 2 rows, 3 columns. Then, I'll just mention one thing quickly. There's a thing called an identity matrix, represented as a big I. The identity matrix is always a square matrix. And it's square, but it's always got to have 1s in the diagonal. So let's do a 3 by 3. So it's got to be square. 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. You can see the ones down the diagonal and all the rest are zeros. All the rest of the numbers are 0. That's an identity matrix. The thing about identity matrices, if you multiply them by another square matrix of the same order, you'll always get the same answer, the same matrix you've multiplied by. So it's like multiplying a number by 1. You'll get itself. So that's the identity matrix. Ones down the diagonal, and it has to be a square matrix. So it's got to be a 3 by 3, or a 2 by 2, or a 7 by 7. Then we talk about multiplying matrices. This is where it can be a little bit tricky. So if we have a 2 by 3 matrix, we have a 2 by 3 matrix, and we want to multiply by another matrix. It's got to be a 3 by 1. These two numbers have to be the same. So the columns of the first matrix have to be the same as the rows of the second matrix. And the funny thing is, you'll end up with a 2 by 1 matrix. I'll show you what I mean. So a 2 by 3 can multiply by a 3 by, say, 1, or a 2, or a 5. These two numbers have to be the same for matrices to be able to multiply by each other. Otherwise you can't do it. It just doesn't work. Let's try a 2 by 3 by a 3 by 1 and see if we get a 2 by 1 at the end. So these are the same, and this shows us what we'll end up with at the end. So 2 by 3 by 3 by 1. So a 2 times 3 matrix and a 3 by 1 matrix. So let me think of a 2 by 3 matrix. So 2 rows and 3 columns. 4, 3, 1, 5, 6, 2. I think you'll all agree that that is a 2 by 3 matrix. Now let me think of a 3 by 1. So 3 by 1 has to have 3 rows and 1 column. So what about 2, 4, 3? Would you all agree that that is a 3 by 1? Because there are 1, 2, 3 rows and 1 column. So that's a 3 by 1, that's a 2 by 3. We can therefore multiply these two matrices together. What we do, and we're going to end up with, remember, a 2 by 1. That's what we're going to end up with. So what we do, this is where it gets a bit tricky. The 4 multiplies by the 2, and then plus 3 times 4 plus 1 times 3. Let me show you what I mean. So I know I'm going to end up with a 2 by 1. So equals, I know it's going to be like this. It's going to be a 2 by 1 column. 2 rows, 1 column. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 8 is 20, plus 1 times 3. 20 plus 3 is 23. So there's your first number. The next number underneath here is the same deal, 5 by 2. So 5 times 2 plus 6 times 4, 6 times 4 plus 2 times 3, 2 times 3. I'm just doing this a bit more slowly so you can see the working out. So 5 by 2 is 10. 10 plus 6 times 4. 6 4s are 24. Plus 2 times 3. 2 3s are 6. Now 10 plus 24 is 34. 34 plus 6 is 40. There's your last number, your second number. So these two matrices multiplied together, you get a 2 by 3 multiplied by a 3 by 1. Remember, these two things have to be the same. They have to be the same. You have to have 3 columns and 3 rows. So 2 by 3, if you're going to multiply, it has to be a 3 by something. So 2 by 3 and multiplied by 3 by 1 will give a 2 by 1, which is this one. This is a 2 by 1 matrix, isn't it? 2 rows, 1 column. So that's probably just about enough to absorb now with matrices. There's some fairly key concepts in there if you think about them. None of them are that hard. Probably the hardest thing is multiplying two matrices together. Because you look at this one, it's got 6 numbers, and you look at this one, it's got 3 numbers, and you think, how am I going to multiply them together? Can I even do it? Well, you think, okay, that's a 2 by 3, that's a 3 by 1, so because those two numbers are the same, yes, I should be able to multiply these together. In fact, I'm going to end up with a 2 by 1, and that's what's happened. You just go slowly, the first number by the first number, the second number by the second number, the third number by the third number, adding them, multiplying together and adding up the totals like we did there, you get the first number. So we'll stop there. I hope that helped you a bit with matrices, episode 1, and in future we can do more if needed. Okay, thank you for listening to me, and like and subscribe if you feel so inclined. Thank you. Bye.